Bing, 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 bong. It is your boy. Happy January 19th. You're like, you shouldn't say timestamp for all the videos. I'm joking. Dude, what if we
Karerak, the
post this
unknown
one
YouTube
now?
predator. Please do not engage with the channel I am about to discuss, nor seek them out in their social media pages.
Oh,
Viewer
okay.
discretion is advised.
Spooky.
Predators, not unlike cockroaches, are persistent. They are always shifting, adapting to new environments, and hiding within the
Dr.
very depths of the
Disrespect? The
shadows.
video game?
Within the past
Oh
few
my
years, we
god.
have seen a boom
The
of warning
one
content
from Don't
created
Hug
on
Me, I'm
YouTube
Scared
and advertised towards children in specific. In 2016, we had the
gave me
boom of the
nightmares.
Elsa
Oh.
Gates controversy surrounding videos on YouTube
Oh?
and YouTube Kids that appeared to be child-friendly but contained inappropriate content. These videos often featured popular characters like Elsa from Disney's Frozen in graphic, violent, or sexually suggestive scenes. Parents were shocked and concerned about the negative impact this content could have on their children, and as a result, YouTube took steps to address the issue by removing inappropriate videos and implementing stricter content moderation policies. Some channels and some people still
There
seem to
needs to
slip through the
be
cracks,
more.
and this is precisely what today's segment relates to. Meet
Oh.
Karerak, a modestly sized channel with just under 200 subscribers. Before their channel was seemingly terminated, the channel was originally created in January 2023, and the creator is supposedly located in the region of El Salvador. Karek's persona is a blue version of the Reddit logo and appears without the antenna. I assume the mascot of the channel is whatever this Karerak name is supposed to represent. On the surface, Karek's channel was nothing more than flash animation style videos with the blue character in suggestive and fetishized positions, mainly to do with armpits, odors, and farting. The blue guy is also depicted in almost every scenario with pubic hair and armpit hair, the latter of which is known to be a feature centered around those who find the armpits attractive. Anyways, this content on its own is not the issue. It wasn't until Karek's 9th upload where things begin to take a turn towards pure depravity. In a video titled Karerak, we see a fox character and the channel's mascot with images of armpits in the background
Courage the
with the
Cowardly
channel's
Dog?
name written on it. And this is where the darker side of the channel becomes more apparent. The following video is titled Armpits Turn Me On, with a 23-second compilation slideshow of armpits, again with the channel name written on them. The title itself, combined with the channel description, Karerak loves hairy, stinky armpits, is a stark admission that the content creator finds this arousing and is somewhat expressing this through their animations. I understand a lot of you might be confused
AOG,
and
but
not
for
see this as
why?
an issue,
Maybe
and
just
that wouldn't be so far off if the people
that feels like
participating
way
were
too
consenting
much.
adults. However, there is absolutely no way that these are the people Karerak is attempting to target or contact. In one of Karek's last uploads before the channel was terminated/deleted, Karerak makes a plea for people to send them more photos of armpits, stating that in exchange for this, he will pay them with $15 worth of Roblox gift cards. Robux being the currency used in a game that is targeted towards children and mainly used by children. If this isn't enough to convince you that this channel is a direct threat towards kids, the quote-unquote advert states that age and color of marker does not matter. At the end of this video, Karerak brags that he possesses 133 photos of armpits. I think it's safe to assume that some of these photographs are of children as well. There was also 2 stomach-churning videos on the channel of a person appearing to pleasure themselves, standing over a photo of the blue Reddit-like character. I seriously hope these videos weren't real. In one of Karek's last and most puzzling uploads, the video shows a photo of a man wearing a dinosaur mask, and the description reads, "Images of this person abusing children were found on the internet. His whereabouts are unknown." The individual is described to be a white male in his late 30s or early 40s with brown eyes. He has a large mole in the middle of his left cheek. The post then follows with a link to Karek's Instagram account and states, "Don't contact a crimes against children investigator or your local FBI office or the nearest American embassy or consulate." Now, what I think was going on here is that this post seems to be making a mockery of the very real ECAP program, launched by the FBI in 2004. This is a very real and proactive step taken by the government to allow the public to help them identify unknown suspects and individuals involved with the essay of children and the production of CP. The website uploads snapshots of identifying features that may help identify these abusers and bring them to justice for their crimes against children. Now, in the video uploaded by Karerak, he states that this is John Doe 77, which I'll add, there is no mention of this individual on the official ECAP government site. It seems that the purpose of this video was for Karerak to outwardly mock the efforts of the FBI, or they
Are
are
some of
self-reporting
these?
as some sick fantasy of their own, or at the very least, someone else that they know.
Are those
The Instagram
taken? Oh my
associated
god.
with this photo is nothing unusual for what we've seen so far, apart from the bio. If you have a dino mask, DM me for $60 Robux. Now,
This was
this makes
spooky.
sense as to why every sexually suggestive video on the channel contains someone wearing a dinosaur mask. Even some of the shorts that Karerak has uploaded show very young looking individuals wearing dinosaur masks, some of which are in different styles, proving that at the very least, Karerak is receiving photographs or videos from different / numerous people, which is very, very worrying, considering he stated openly on his YouTube channel that there was no age limit to their perversions. I took a quick look at who Karerak was following, and it's not surprising. Their follow list comprises almost exclusively of furry creators with a strong emphasis on creating fetish content. Karek's traces on the internet are certainly limited up to this point, especially since most of the info I now have is limited to what the Wayback Machine has archived. The YouTube channel and its content is where the vast majority of this information comes from. However, if you give the name a quick search on Google, we now see a deleted Reddit account complaining about being shadow banned, and to search up the name Karerak on the Internet Archive, which I have done, and couldn't find anything specific apart from the
Oh my
deleted
god.
channel. But the other thing that pops up associated with this username is another deleted Twitter account with deeply disturbing headings, all of which have thankfully now been taken down.
Claymation?
Unfortunately, this
There's
is
so
where
much
this
work
rabbit
put
hole
into
ends
this.
for the time being. These events are somewhat stagnant ever since the channel was either removed or terminated by YouTube. Recently, it seems Karerak, or someone pretending to be them, has attempted to launch a second YouTube channel, this time so far without any of the disturbing and disgusting content. The channel now has a X/Twitter account linked @/_Karerak_ with their pinned post hinting to a potential return to social media platforms. The rest of their tweets consist of NSFW cartoon content, and their new Instagram account @/_Karerak is seemingly also new, with a story recently posted stating that their name had been falsely slandered. Currently, that's where the story ends. If you search up Karerak
I
on
think that's
YouTube,
fake.
a strange account seems to be linked with only one upload. This directly relates to the dino masked people, whom Karerak constantly showcased on his original channel. The video alleges it is a snippet from a dark web video. However, this might just be some sort of edgelord trying to jump in on this bizarre bandwagon. As stated at the beginning of this segment, I would
Yeah,
urge you
see,
to not contact
copycats for
this
all of them.
user
But the first
in
one,
any way, shape,
that's
or form. If
weird.
you intend to do something, use that effort in reporting it through the appropriate authorities/channels, should anything illegal seem to appear again. This story, and like many others, is a haunting reminder to always keep a close eye on what your kids
Those
are doing
hands.
on the web. If you don't have kids, keep an eye on what your siblings, nieces, nephews, or
Spooky.
any younger person in your life is doing on their mobile devices, because you never know when the next Karerak might show up. Cairo serial killer. TikTok, an app with a reported user base of 1 billion people,
Cairo?
all spread out over the globe, provides a unique platform
Yo,
to connect
TikTok?
people with stories
I don't think
they
it's
may never
banned, for
have heard
real.
of before. So imagine
We
scrolling as
haven't
usual,
logged
and
onto it
this
actually in a
disturbing video
minute.
appears on your
But I
FYP.
feel like I
So
opened the
I was
app
married to a
today.
serial killer for
Yesterday?
7.5 years. He tried to kill me
What?
many times. He tried to kill my sister many times. Then he got caught with 3 bodies in his apartment in a torture chamber. And he's very known in Egypt and the Arab world. Finally, when he got caught this May, they locked him up. He's gonna get hung.
When boredom struck on TikTok was married to Kareem Salim in 2014. They lived
What?
in Cairo with their son Zain Salim until their separation in 2020. Kareem was an English teacher at El
That's
Fayour's
him?
British International College in Port Said,
Exquisite.
and a former TikToker who amassed a following of 600,000, teaching people common English phrases and slang.
Got to.
Gotta. I gotta go.
Out of.
Out of. I'm out of time.
Here's 5 ways to call in sick to work like a professional. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today. Unfortunately, I won't be coming in. I'm afraid I won't be able to make it into work today. Exquisite.
Exquisite.
It means very pretty. And this one? Ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
It means very happy. And the last one?
Exquisite. Ecstatic.
Excruciating.
Excruciating.
Meaning very painful.
Kareem was convicted in August 2024
No.
for torturing and killing 3 women between November 2023 and May 2024.
Excruciating.
In her video, Yakut recounts enduring years of abuse from Kareem.
Is a lot.
She decided to leave him in 2020
I know,
due
but
to
the
the escalating
excruciating
domestic violence.
pain
Although
is
Egyptian law at the
redundant.
time did not criminalize such acts,
You know what I'm
preventing
saying?
her
So
from filing
excruciating has to
charges.
mean a lot.
She lived with her
Maybe a
then
lot
son,
with
5
pain, but
years
then it's
old
like,
at
why
the
do
time,
people say
Zayn.
excruciating
But
pain?
within a year, she alleges Kareem began threatening her and her
Words.
family, stating that he would kill them if
I'm
he
sorry,
didn't
I'm
get
not
his
feeling
way.
well.
After a supposed and what was supposed to
Unfortunately.
be temporary meeting between father and son in 2020, Zayn, their son, was not returned to Labna, and she has not seen her son since Kareem was charged with the murders of 3 women. She claimed Kareem waited outside her residence with a knife for 4 days, leading her to flee the UK in disguise as the reason she did not take her son with her in the first place. In May 2024, Yakut learned of Kareem's arrest for the murders of 3 women from Egyptian investigators. Initially, she thought it might be a ruse to lure her back to Egypt.
Is he handcuffed
However, media coverage
to the cops?
eventually confirmed his horrific crimes, which involved torturing, killing, and sexually abusing the corpses of his victims. He also recorded these acts with hidden cameras located throughout his apartment. The events all taking place in a soundproof room he had purposely built. Even with Kareem behind bars and with him facing the death penalty, Yakut's primary concern is now locating her son, Zayn, who was reportedly handed over to Kareem's mother after his arrest. Yakut has not received any official assistance in finding her son, who was originally born in Michigan, and the American Embassy in Egypt has not yet proposed to inquiries about the matter. Now currently living in the UK, Yakut continues her tireless search for Zayn. She does not know exactly where him and her former mother-in-law are located, but as far as
America
she
should
is
step in.
concerned, she simply wants the safe return of her kidnapped child.
Is
Please
this
spread
guy
the word
gonna-
on Yakut's case, as there have been very little coverage of these bizarre events so far on any Western media
Is he already
outlets.
hung and
This
dead?
woman was
Whoa.
married to a serial killer for 7 years, whose final act of revenge from behind bars is withholding her child from her. Justice must be served.
Is he dead?
The Amazon killer. Todd
Honestly,
Kohlhepp
go to the
was
embassy.
involved in crime from
Born
a
in
young
Michigan.
age. His
They
early
should-
life
they
was
should
marked
honestly
by
send
behavioral
tanks.
issues. And
Like,
at
I
15,
swear to God,
he was
he's
convicted of
American.
kidnapping and sexually assaulting a girl
Changes
at
everything.
gunpoint, for which he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. After his release in 2001, he moved to South Carolina and became a successful real estate agent, even earning 2 degrees and learning to fly planes. In a bizarre turn of events, Kohlhepp's criminal history escalated to murder. Kohlhepp was arrested on November 3, 2016, after a woman, Kayla Brown, was found chained inside a storage container on his property in Woodruff, South Carolina. Her boyfriend, Charles Carver, was found dead in a shallow grave on the same property. Kohlhepp confessed to this double homicide. Furthermore, he admitted to a quadruple murder from 2003 at a Superbike motorsports shop in Chesney, South Carolina, where he killed Scott Ponder, his mother Beverly, the store manager Brian Lucas, and mechanic Chris Sherbert after an altercation over a returned motorcycle. What made Kohlhepp's case particularly eerie was his telling Amazon reviews. Under the username Me, he left reviews for various products, some of which were potentially linked to his criminal activities. Notable reviews included one for a folding shovel where he wrote, "Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left a full-size shovel at home."
Does
and
not come with
another
a
for
midget.
knife stating, "Haven't
Would've
stabbed
been
anyone
nice.
yet, but I am keeping the dream alive, and when I do, it will be with a quality tool like this." These reviews were discovered after his arrest, with the accounts linked to his name, providing an almost surreal insight into his mindset. Authorities noted these reviews but considered them secondary to the physical evidence and confessions. They were used to paint a psychological profile of Kohlhepp, showing his confidence in evading capture and his dark humor. Kohlhepp was brazenly leaving a trail of confessions for the world to see, and most users on Amazon were probably none the wiser. They probably assumed this was all a sick joke. Kohlhepp was eventually charged with 7 counts of murder, kidnapping, and criminal sexual. He pleaded guilty, leading to a life sentence without the possibility of parole. His case drew significant media attention because of the natures of his crimes and the unusual digital footprint he left behind.
Yeah, those Amazon reviews are very wild,
which not only offered a glimpse into a psyche, but also highlighted how killers might inadvertently leave subtle hints and clues behind through their subconscious. However, it's crucial to understand that while these reviews were disturbing, they did not directly lead to his arrest. Rather, they were a post-arrest revelation that added a layer of notoriety to his crimes. Todd Kohlhepp's case is a prime example of the dual lives some individuals lead. The mundane nature of everyday activities like online shopping, intertwined with heinous criminal acts and borderline bragging about criminality, should all be a reminder for us to stay vigilant in online spaces and to always second guess what first might appear to be edgy humor. Susan Powell, Will and Testament video. The Susan and Josh Powell case is one of the most notorious and heartbreaking true crime stories from the earlier half of the 2000s, centered around the disappearance of Susan Powell and the subsequent tragic events involving her husband, Joshua Powell, and their 2 sons, Charlie and Braden. Susan Powell was last seen on December 6, 2009 in West Valley City, Utah. Her husband, Josh Powell, claimed that the family had gone camping that night despite it being in the middle of winter. Josh returned home the next day with their sons, but without Susan. Due to the suspicious nature of this impromptu camping trip, Josh quickly became the prime suspect in Susan's disappearance. There was no evidence of her leaving willingly.
That's so confusing.
Her personal items were left behind, and police found blood in the house, later confirmed to be Susan's. Despite this, Josh was never charged due to insufficient evidence for an arrest. Susan and Josh's marriage was known to be rocky, with Susan documenting her fears about Josh in a recorded video.
This is me, July 29th, 2008, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
And written will, where she suggested that if anything happened to her, it might not be accidental. Josh's father, Stephen Powell, was also implicated due to his inappropriate behavior towards Susan. Stephen reportedly recorded Susan without her knowledge and obsessed over her constantly. He documented this behavior by recording his love confessions on camera, spouting delusions that he knew she felt the same way. Stephen Powell took this behavior a step further, even collecting her sanitary products. Stephen Powell was eventually arrested and charged for similar behaviors towards neighborhood girls. After Stephen's arrest, custody of Charlie and Braden, Susan's sons, were awarded to Susan's parents, Chuck and Judy Cox. However, Josh was allowed supervised visits on February 5th, 2012. During one such visit, Josh locked out the social worker, prompting her to make this horrifying call.
CSHS and CPS has been involved, and this is the craziest thing. He looked right at me and closed the door. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just waiting to know where you are.
Okay. It's 8119 189th Street, Court East, Puyallup, 98375. And I'd like to pull out of the driveway because I smell gasoline and he won't let me in.
You want to pull out of the driveway because you smell gasoline, but he won't let you...
He won't let me in.
He won't let you out of the driveway?
He won't let me in the house.
Whose house is it?
The kids in the house and he won't let me in. It's a supervised visit.
I understand. Whose house is it?
Josh Powell.
Okay, so you don't live there, right?
No, I don't. No, I'm contracted.
It turns out that Josh had attacked his 2 sons with a hatchet, then set the house on fire, killing all within, including himself. Josh's brother, Michael Powell, who had been suspected of helping Josh dispose of Susan's body, died by suicide in February 2013. Susan's body has never been found, and her disappearance officially remains unsolved,
What?
though she's widely believed to have been murdered by Josh, due to not only the strange camping incident, but also Josh Powell's eventual self-inflicted end. The Cox family pursued legal action against the Washington State Department of Social and Health Services for negligence, claiming insufficient measures were
Josh, this guy was in the army. Whoa. Martin Cabello talks about this Josh guy.
taken to protect Charlie and Braden during the
I swear to
supervised
God.
visits. They won a multi-million-dollar settlement. Efforts to find Susan's remains have continued, with explorations of mine shafts in Utah, where Josh claimed
From
to
the
have remained
state?
supervised visits. They won a multi-million-dollar settlement. Efforts to find Susan's remains have continued, with explorations of mine shafts in Utah, where Josh claimed to have gone camping, but no conclusive evidence of her remains has been found to date, and it has been over a decade since Susan went missing. But perhaps one day the family can be put to rest with an answer on what exactly happened to their daughter. Sarah Boone's suitcase video. This video may be confusing to some, but the story behind it is truly horrific. Sarah Boone, the woman taking the video, was found guilty of second-degree murder and the death of her boyfriend, George Torres Jr., in Winter Park, Florida, in February 2020. Boone allegedly zipped Torres into a suitcase during what she described as a game of hide-and-seek, claiming both were intoxicated. However, instead of releasing Torres, she left him locked in the suitcase overnight, where he suffocated and died. Boone recorded videos on her cell phone showing Torres inside the suitcase, audibly pleading to be let out,
How did
stating he
he...
couldn't breathe. In these videos, Boone can be heard taunting him, saying things like, "That's what you get," and "You should probably shut up." These videos were pivotal in court, portraying Boone's actions and responses during the incident. Initially, Boone claimed the incident was an accident during a playful game.
How did
However,
she...
the videos contradicted
How did that
showing
manage...
the more sinister side of her
Yeah,
nature. The
it
videos were
was...
used to
Wow,
confirm to
very
the court
bad.
that her
How did
actions
he...
certainly had a more sinister intention than she had originally claimed. Boone's trial took
She
place in
wearing
October
pink handcuffs?
2024, where she was convicted of secondly claimed. Boone's trial
Those are
took
pink,
place in
dude.
October 2024,
You see
where
those?
she was convicted of second-degree murder. She testified in her defense, claiming she did not intend for Torres to die, but was wanting him to understand how she felt in their relationship due to his alleged infidelity and abusive behavior. Boone's defense attempted to use evidence of prior abuse by Torres against her to justify her actions, though this was not compelling enough to sway the jury from a guilty verdict. December 2nd, 2024, Boone was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Torres. After sentencing, there were mentions of Boone attempting to appeal or request a new trial, citing prosecutorial misconduct, but these requests were denied. In its essence, the Sarah Boone case really opens up a discussion about where domestic violence, mental health, and the legal system intersect.
I can't breathe, babe.
Oh, that's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah!
YouTuber records break-in. Benjamin Bennett is an American
How
YouTuber,
did-
performance artist, and musician known primarily for his YouTube series Sitting and Smiling and Walking and Talking. In Sitting and Smiling, Bennett performs endurance art by sitting in front of a camera. And Sitting and Smiling, Bennett performs endurance art by sitting in front of a camera and smiling for 4 hours straight, which he
Why?
live streams and then uploads.
Why is
This
it...
series began on July 28th, 2014, and he garnered over 380,000 subscribers and millions of views. Bennett describes his work as lacking a clear purpose, emphasizing the act itself over traditional artistic intent. After reaching 300 views in this series, he introduced Walking and Talking, where he walks around for 4 hours, speaking on various philosophical and personal topics. The most notable incident in Bennett's Sitting and Smiling series occurred during his 5th video, live streamed on November 24th, 2014. Around 2 hours and 36 minutes into the video,
his
an
5th
intruder
video?
entered Bennett's house while Bennett was sitting and smiling. As per his usual performance, the intruder opened the door to the room where Bennett was filming, said hello, but then left shortly after. Presumably unnerved by the situation, Bennett did not react, maintaining his pose and expression throughout the encounter.
Hello?
Those who frequent dark topics usually explored in videos such as these will be very familiar with the dark web, a part of the internet accessible through the use of specialized browsers such as Tor. Whilst some of you may be aware of some notorious sites on the dark web such as the Silk Road, have you ever heard of Pink Meth? Now, if you search up Pink Meth on Google, the results are rather small, and the topic hasn't really been discussed in length. However, there are a few media outlets who expose the truth of this hidden and very dangerous website. The Pink Meth website was a notorious dark website active during the early 2010s, particularly from around 2012 to 2014. Boiled down to its very basic premise, Pink Meth was essentially an adult video site where individuals could upload explicit photos of others, often ex-partners, without their consent. However, unlike typical sites of the time, such as Is Anyone Up, Pink Meth seemed to take this a step further, and a step which would put people's lives at risk. Alongside these images, personal details like names, addresses, and contact information were sometimes posted, even some going as far to include links to social media pages associated with whoever was shown in the photo. Pink Meth was described as a platform for heartbroken exes to exact revenge by publicly sharing intimate images. The site was known for encouraging victims to write about how their images were obtained, often leading to further humiliation and adding fuel to the fire of unhinged people who might take it a step further and seek these people out. The website faced significant legal challenges, though for a while seemed to evade legal action due to a loophole, Section 203 of the Communications Act, which leaves the website liability-free from the postings of third-party users, regardless of what the content was. But the immunity wouldn't last forever, and Pink Meth became part of the targets during the international law enforcement operation Animus in 2014, which led to the seizure of numerous dark websites. This thankfully included Pink Meth. After its initial takedown, there were attempts to bring back or mirror the site, but these efforts were also met with resistance and further legal actions. And as for now, the internet remains clear of Pink Meth.
It's the M3
Couple drowns on camera. This unsuspecting clip was uploaded to YouTube in 2013. The grainy footage shows a newlywed couple having fun in a large body of water, allegedly in a dam. Little did the couple know they would unwillingly be the directors of their own horror movie. In 2013, the 22-year-old man named Hitman Mohammadine, featured in the video, took his newlywed wife to a pond in the Beit Bas area south of Sana'a, Yemen, to celebrate their marriage. They set up a camera to film themselves in the water, but neither of them knew how to swim. The video, which was later found by a passerby, captured the tragic moments the couple drowned. Around the 3-minute and 28-second mark of the video, the husband slips into deeper water where there was likely an underwater ledge or drop-off. In an attempt to save himself, and as most panicked people do, he instinctively grabbed onto his wife, leading to both drowning. What is more tragic is that at numerous points throughout the video, we see his wife almost make it to the land, only to be dragged down to her eventual end by the man she loved. The lake itself was known for previous drowning incidents, suggesting hazardous conditions like sudden depth changes or strong currents. Though specifics from the video indicate the couple was initially in shallow water before moving into deeper areas, which was in no way aided by the fact neither of them could swim. The wife also appears to be wearing a burqa, which could have become heavy when soaked, potentially contributing to their inability to stay afloat. Strangely enough, the couple had set up the camera to capture an intimate, loving moment, only to have captured the end of their life instead. The video was allegedly uploaded to the internet by whoever found the camera, and at the time became somewhat of a viral tragedy, which has been discussed on now defunct shock sites like Bescore and LiveLeak. I think it speaks to the desensitized nature of our society, especially in the age of the internet. Social media platforms have made it so that people are constantly exposed to tragic events, including death and violence. This can lead to a form of desensitization where such events become normalized or
I used to get a lot of those too.
It is proposed from an article by the BBC that in a single day we absorb and are exposed
I
to
get
as
just like a
much
lot of
data
depressing
than
tweets
someone
now.
from the 15th century would be in their
For
entire
real.
lifetime. If the majority of that info is horrific, violent, and negative, then it is no wonder why we barely blink an eye at a video such as this. However, in these instances, it is important to remember the real loss of life in this
80
specific case.
theories and mysteries? I want to know. This kid, that kid one, he spawned in with pajamas. He spawned in, dude.